Welcome back to another episode of the Storyteller Studio podcast. I'm your host, T. Hems. It's been a little while. We've been on a little hiatus, about 2 weeks now, but we back, man. I want to thank everybody for tuning in this week. Hope everybody is having a good weekend. Hope everybody had a great Thanksgiving. I didn't record since the week before Thanksgiving, so I hope everybody had a great Thanksgiving. Happy holidays, everybody out there. Christmas is a few weeks away. Make sure you get guys like, rate, and subscribe to the pod right now. And we gonna get right into the shits, man. Um, Game just finished about maybe 30, 40 minutes ago. The Bears, I don't know what happened today, man, but we just couldn't get the job done with the game on the line. We took a L today versus the Packers. The score of 28-21. Um, Sunday's game at Lambeau Field wasn't decided until the final minute after the Packers scored to take a 28-21 lead with just over 2 minutes left with a rushing touchdown from running back Josh Jacobs. The Bears were able to get into the Green Bay territory and threaten to tie the game, but Caleb Williams' pass to the end zone was intercepted on fourth down, securing the win for the Packers as they now take over first place in the NFC North at 9-3-1. Bears, meanwhile, dropped from the number one seed in the NFL to the number seven seed in the conference with a 9-4 record. Just about everybody thought the Bears were going to run the ball on fourth and one from the Packers' 14-yard line with 27 seconds left, especially with two timeouts in hand. But Ben Johnson dialed up a play action pass. It didn't go as he hoped, as Caleb Williams held the ball for too long, lofting a pass in the end zone that was intercepted by Packers defensive back Keyshawn Nixon, giving Green Bay the win. The Bears had largely relied on their ground game for offensive success on Sunday, but Caleb Williams let it rip when they got the ball back following the Packers touchdown that gave them a 28-21 lead. Uh, Caleb threw a pair of long completions right before the 2 minute warning to get the Bears to the Packers' 23-yard line. First, he threw a 27-yard pass to Luther Burden III before completing a 24-yard pass to Devin Duvernay. Josh Jacobs got the call on third down for the Packers again as he delivered for a second time on many third downs for the Packers. The star running back ran in the end zone for a 2 yard touchdown on a third and goal to help the Packers out in front 28-21 with 3:32 remaining. My analysis for today's game, I feel like Caleb has to get off to a better start. Next week, next week is week 15. We will be on the road in Cleveland. I think we'll be back home versus the Shador Sanders and Cleveland Browns next week. So hopefully we get back on track and get a dub. We will be home for the next two games. Next week's game is at 12 o'clock. And then week after next, we will be home again, taking on the Green Bay Packers in 2 weeks. Right now, we dropped to seventh from being number one. We were the number one team in the NFC for a whole week. So that was a blessing to see. Um, I feel like the defense got smoked in this game today. Secondary did not play very good. Nashawn Wright got hurt in the fourth quarter. Um, Kevin Byard and CJ Gardner, they were getting dusted by Romeo Dobbs and Christian Watson. They just were getting washed, man. And it's the secondary has to play better. Jalen Johnson as well, he got dusted today too. And it just seemed like Jordan Love, he was looking like Patrick Mahomes out there today, man. And they just got to play a better game. But here's a quote from Caleb Williams on after today's loss. He says it's frustrating just because we shot ourselves in the foot more than anything. And so that is where the frustration comes from. We had a great shot early in the game. Hold on, give me 1 second. We had a great shot early in the game with the interception. defense doing a good job, and then we kind of let them get going. They put up some points on the board, and we had to try and rally, and it's not always going to work in our favor. We work our tail off and try not to have these situations, but when the situations do come, we got to try and make plays to come back and make the right plays. So I feel like what he's saying is good, but it's like they just got to get off to better starts. And I do feel like they got to get off to better starts. Um, Looking ahead to Week 15 games in this NFC playoff race, as the season is winding down with 4 games left. The Bears are a 7.5 point favorite over the Cleveland Browns next week. And the Packers, they are 2.5 point road favorites over the Denver Broncos as they won their 11th game today. We will be getting into that in a few minutes. Make sure you guys like, rate, and subscribe. And big game today, man. That early game with the Bills and the Bengals, man, that was one of the best, if not the best game of today. But we gonna go right to the AFC North, man. Battle for first place in the AFC North. The Pittsburgh Steelers, they ignore the noise as they back Mike Tomlin in a win over the Baltimore Ravens. 7 days after fans loudly chanted for him to be fired, Pittsburgh Steelers coach Mike Tomlin blew a kiss to the camera as he walked off the field after the Steelers' 27-22 win today versus the Baltimore Ravens. Quarterback Aaron Rodgers completed 23 of 34 attempts for 284 yards with a passing touchdown and a rushing score. Was blunt when asked what the win meant for Tomlin and the Steelers, who faced questions about their coach's job security after their loss to the Buffalo Bills last week in Week 13. Here's a quote from Aaron. He says, "Means maybe you guys will shut the hell up for a week," as he said with a smirk. The outside noise reached a fever pitch in the fourth quarter against the Bills last week, but the Steelers players insisted they ignored calls for Tomlin to lose his job. Here's a quote from DK Metcalf. He says, We knew not to pay any attention to any outside noise," said DK Metcalf, who had a season high 148 yards on 7 receptions for 12 targets. Coach T is a great leader for us, and he's done nothing but take the bullets for us. Even when we're high and when we're low, he's always coming every day. He has been steady and stayed the game, stayed the same, always motivated us to play our best ball, and that's what we did last week. We knew what was at stake, first place in this heated rivalry, and yeah, the better team came on top. Um, After today's win, the Steelers are now a game ahead of the Ravens, 7-6, as the Ravens dropped to 6-7. The Steelers now have a 63.1% chance to make the playoffs, and a loss would have dropped Pittsburgh to 16.8%. Let's see. The Steelers led by as many as 14 points in the first half as Aaron Rodgers connected on the kind of downfield throws that eluded him throughout the season. A-Rod hit DK Metcalf for a 52-yard completion on a pass that traveled 44 air yards on the first play of the game to set the tone for the game. Before that completion, Steelers quarterbacks were 0 for 10 on passes that traveled at least 20 air yards from week 9 to week 13. Let's see here. Then, as the Baltimore Ravens cut into their deficit with a pair of touchdowns and the Steelers' offense sputtered, Pittsburgh's defense stepped up to close out the win. Though the offense went 3-and-out in its fourth quarter possessions, the Steelers' defense held the Ravens to 2 field goals, a turnover on downs, and a walk-off sack by Eisman. Steelers blitzed Lamar Jackson on 9 of his 24th quarter dropbacks. In the first 3 quarters, Pittsburgh brought a blitz on just 5 of 20 drops. Um, Here's a quick quote from Patrick Queen. He says, "Everything is about the future. Today, we just had to be present and do what we had to do to control our destiny in the future." Here's my quick analysis on this game. I do feel like this was a must win as the The I mean not the Ravens, Steelers lost their last two games as they lost to the Bears in week 12 and then they lost last week to the Bills. So they were coming in on I believe a three-game losing streak. They definitely had to win this game today to, get back in the good graces of the AFC North and in the AFC playoff picture. Um, right now, the Kansas City Chiefs, who are 6-6, they're fighting for their playoff lives. They are actually taking on the Houston Texans. CJ Stroud and the crew. They're at Arrowhead right now. This game is on channel 5 right now, NBC. Also, the Chicago Bulls, they're taking on the Golden State Warriors. I believe Steph Curry is out. But usually they don't play on Sunday, but it's very rare that they're playing today. Check that out right now. Let's give you guys a quick rundown of these week 14 games. The Detroit Lions started off the week on Thursday. They got a big win. Jared Goff and Jamar Gibbs broke a record of Barry Sanders rushing yards as they won in Detroit. They got a big home win, 44-30, to keep their playoff hopes alive. The Miami Dolphins, one of the hottest teams in the AFC right now, they have won four games in a row. Devon A. Chain had a big day. We had over 92 yards rushing and two touchdowns as Tua Tonga Valoa and the crew. The Dolphins won 34-10 over the New York Jets on the road. Pittsburgh Steelers, they won 27-22. Right now, the Houston Texans, they have the ball over the Kansas City Chiefs on second and 11. Surprising win. The New Orleans Saints, they get a surprising win over the Tampa Bay Buccaneers today, 24-20. Bad news for the Indianapolis Colts. Daniel Jones, he would be out for the season as he tore his Achilles in the second quarter of today's game. They went down to Jacksonville to take on the Jaguars. The Jaguars put belt to ass as they won 36 to 19. Big game from Trevor Lawrence, as now the Jacksonville Jaguars are one game ahead of them in the AFC South at 9-4. The Tennessee Titans get their second win of the season as Cam Ward gets a good win in his rookie year. They won 31-29 over the Cleveland Browns. The Minnesota Vikings, they get a shutout win as Jaden Daniels made his return to the Commanders as they won 31-0. Sam Darnold and the Seattle Seahawks, they won 37-9 over the Atlanta Hawks. I mean, the Atlanta Falcons, wrong birds, my bad. And the Buffalo Bills get a big win. Josh Allen had a great game today, as well as Joe Burrow had three timely turnovers that kind of ended the game for them. As the Bills won in a snowy game, 39-34 over the Bengals. The Denver Broncos have the hottest team in the NFL right now. They stretched their win streak to 11 as they beat the Las Vegas Raiders 24-17. And the Green Bay Packers get a late win over the Chicago Bears as they regain the first place in the NFC North in 28-21. And the LA Rams, they put belt to ass on the Arizona Cardinals in a NFC West matchup, 45-17. Big game from Matthew Stafford, three touchdowns passing and three touchdowns for Puka Nakua, star receiver for the Rams. And tomorrow night at 7:15, the Philadelphia Eagles will be going on the road to LA to take on the Chargers at SoFi. They'll be taking on the LA Chargers tomorrow night. Jalen Hurts versus Justin Herbert, Saquon and the crew. But let's get right into the what we got here. The Bills, and I would say the best game of today that I watched. The Bills and the hold on, y'all. The Bills and the Bengals. The Buffalo Bills rallied 39-34 win over the Bengals thanks to Josh Allen's four touchdowns and Christian Benford's pick six. Let's see here. Then Christian Benford intercepted Joe Burrow's soft toss and returned it for a 63-yard go-ahead touchdown with 5:25 left in the fourth quarter. Josh Allen threw for three touchdowns and ran for one as the Bills beat the Cincinnati Bengals 39-34 on a snowy Sunday. By the time Benford outran intended receiver Jamar Chase to the end zone, everyone on the Bills sideline was leaping for joy. It was one of three touchdowns in a span of 4 minutes and 20 seconds for the Bills, which overcame a 10-point fourth quarter deficit. It was fun to see your brother who does his job and can make plays for your teams in the big moments of the games, Josh Allen said. It's so awesome. He deserves every bit of it. Two of Allen's passing touchdowns came on fourth down. He also scored on a 40-yard run, breaking his own team record for the longest rushing touchdown by a quarterback, and capped the victory with a 17-yard scramble on a third and 15, allowing Buffalo to run the clock out. It wasn't pretty. Amid it was a little sloppy with field slicked by persistent snow flurries. What matters now is the Buffalo Bills are 9-4. What was the outcome? The Bills have won two straight for the first time in a month, and they keep their pace in the tightly packed AFC. The Bengals now dropped to 4-9, saw their already shaky playoff prospects dim even further. Their only realistic shot entering the weekend was winning the AFC North, but they fell three games behind the Pittsburgh Steelers. Here's a quote from Cincinnati coach Zach Taylor. He says, just sick for the guys. They made more plays than us down the stretch, and that was the difference in the game. Joe Burrow's boost to the Bengals lasted only 1 week after he oversaw Cincinnati's 32-14 win over Baltimore on Thanksgiving in the starter's first game after missing nine with a toe injury. He finished with interceptions on consecutive plays. After being picked off by Benford, Burrow's next pass was tipped by defensive tackle Jordan Phillips and intercepted by AJ Epensia. That set up Allen's 3-yard touchdown pass to Jackson Halls. Um, the interceptions were Burrow's first in four starts this season. He finished with 25 of 36 for 284 yards and four touchdowns while losing for the first time in nine starts dating to last season. The Bengals are guaranteed to finish with their fewest wins after going 4-11 in 2020 when Joe Burrow was only a rookie. Let's see here. T. Higgins caught two touchdown passes, including a one-hand 25-yarder with 2:13 left. Tight end Mike Gesicki scored on a 12-yard catch, and Chase Brown scored on a 5-yard run. Josh Allen finished the day with 22 for 28 for 251 yards. His first touchdown pass, an 11-yarder on fourth down to Khalil Shakir, was Allen's 20th of the season, making him the first NFL player with 3 seasons of 20 yards, 20 touchdowns passing, and 10 rushing. Let's see here. Next week, the Cincinnati Bengals, they will be going to Baltimore to take on the Ravens once again. And the Bills will be taking on the AFC East leading New England Patriots next Sunday. So that's going to be a big game. As earlier in the season, the Patriots did beat the Bills in Buffalo. So hopefully the Bills can get their revenge and try and get to 10-4 in the season. All right. Let's see what's next. Um, what do we have here? Luka Doncic is back, y'all. The Lakers have been doing their thing. Luka Doncic is back. He's missed the last couple of games. Let's see here. Let's see here. Right now the Lakers are taking on the Sixers in Philadelphia tonight. The Lakers record right now they're 16-6 as the Sixers are 13-9. The Sixers are leading at halftime 60-53. Let's see here. Let's read a little quick box score for you guys. Give me 1 second. LeBron James, he has 10 points, 3 assists, 3 rebounds. Luka Doncic has 19 points, 8 rebounds, and 5 assists already. And Austin Reeves has how many points Austin got? He has 8 points, 4 rebounds, and 2 assists. So that's good for the Lakers. And on the Sixers side of things, Tyrese Maxey has 15 rebounds, 4 assists. Joel Embiid has 8 points, and Paul George has seven. And Jared McCain has 8 points coming off of the bench. Let's move right along. I don't want to be long winded. I just wanted to tap in with y'all for the night. Let's get right into boxing, man. Hold on, guys. Hold on, hold on, hold on, hold on, hold on, hold on, hold on. Broncos versus Raiders. All right, let's get right to the shits, man. The Denver Broncos took care of business. Give me 1 second. As they beat the Raiders. Here's some takeaways from today's game. Bo Nix has yet to lose to the Las Vegas Raiders. The Broncos have swept their bitter division rival for the second straight season, emerging victorious in Week 14, score 24 to 17. It was the Broncos' 11th straight win, the team's longest winning streak since 2012. It was also Denver's fifth straight road win with the remarkable quality team as they won overtime last week as well over the Washington Commanders in overtime. On top of that, all the Broncos took back the number one playoff seed in the AFC with their win over the Raiders, now sitting at 11-2. Broncos are in a great position for the final 4 game stretch. Before we look ahead, we have to analyze Week 14's victory, starting with 5 big takeaways from the Broncos' 11th win of the season. Broncos took Broncos dominated the time of possession in the game. All three of Denver's scoring drives at least took 8 minutes off of the clock. Sean Payton was very dissatisfied with the game plan he drew up in Week 10 versus the Raiders, making it up from the gusto on Sunday. The play call imbalance was tremendous, and the Broncos dominated the point of attack. All three of the Broncos running backs averaged over 4 yards per carries, with RJ Harvey leading the way with 17 carries for 75 yards and a touchdown, while also contributing 25 yards through the air, giving him a total of 100 yards from scrimmage. Bo Nix did a great job navigating the pocket, although he was sacked 3 times, which was an unusually high number for him. Nevertheless, he finished with only 7 completions on 38 attempts, passing for 212 yards. Let's see here. With an assist from Marvin Mims Jr. to this team. His absence was felt nearly for those 2 weeks he was in concussion protocol, but since he's been back, what a difference maker he's been. Against the Raiders, Mims returned a punt for 48 yards to the house. Despite looking like he was going to be bottled up initially, he broke free, turned the corner, and was off to the races. Let's see here. Broncos didn't take the ball away on defense. For a defense that has been dominant and predatory as Denver's had all season long, the lack of takeaways is the only possible hole one could find in this boat. Um, big win for this team. I really love this team's defense right now, man. I think they have what it takes to get to the AFC Championship game. I do say the Patriots and the Broncos this year, they've been the most two dominant teams in the AFC. So hopefully we'll see where this team goes as Bo Nix and Sean Payton, they continue to dominate and lead this team to a higher regard. But make sure you guys like, rate, and subscribe. I appreciate you guys for tapping in with me real quick. Let's get into this Lamont Roach fight last night, man. It's a lot going on in boxing right now. It's been a draw once again. Um, Last night, in San Antonio, Lamont Roach took on Isaac Pitbull Cruz, and the fight, Isaac Cruz retained his title after a majority draw with Lamont Roach. Pitbull retained his WBC interim junior welterweight title belt, and Roach left with a second consecutive majority draw this year. One judge scored the fight 115, 111 in favor of the Cruz, and two judges scored it 113, 113. The fight was even early, with Cruz scoring a third round knockdown to inch ahead. However, Roach made a strategic adjustment to seemingly take control of the second half of the fight, but it wasn't enough to prevent him from going winless in his past two fights. Roach vented his frustration afterward. All I want is a fair shake, man. That's it. I think I pulled that fight out. I don't know what I got to do. We're going back to the drawing board. I don't accept this at all. I clearly thought I won a close fight. I'm tired of this shit, man. Fighting out of Washington, D.C., Roach's record now 25 1 and 3 with 10 knockouts was coming off a controversial majority draw against Gervonta Tank Davis back in March. Unable to land a rematch, Roach had to look elsewhere and opted to move up to 140 pounds to face Pitbull Cruz. Record is 28 3 and 2 with 18 knockouts. He entered the fight as the WB Super Featherweight title holder, but was stripped of the title once the bell sounded for his fight with Cruz. Cruz, who went the distance with Davis in a spirited decision loss in 2021, had won six of his seven previous fights, claiming the vacant WBC interim junior welterweight title in his last fight by beating Omar Salcido. Um, Cruz was asked if there would be a rematch. He said absolutely. With a different referee though, and without the referee being on his side, I won this fight, and the referee took this fight from me. Also, in the co-main event, Oshaki Foster dominates Stephen Fulton and Cruz to unanimous decisions to become the WBC interim lightweight champion. The fight was originally set to be contested for Foster's WBC junior lightweight title, but Fulton came in 2 pounds overweight. The WBC inexplicably changed the stakes of the fight to an interim title fight at 135 pounds, with the winner being the mandatory challenger to Shakur Stevenson. Foster, 24 and 3 with 12 knockouts, was brilliant in outclassing a former two division champion throughout the 12 round affair. He tamed Fulton behind a sharp jab and kept him on the outside for long stretches. The champion expertly held court in the center of the ring when Fulton struggled to get inside or land anything of substance. As the rounds wore on, Fulton's frustration showed in his approach as Foster began to put combinations behind the jab whenever his opponent attempted to push his way inside. The judges scored the fight 117 111, 118 110, and 119 109, but it could very well have been scored a shutout because of Foster's dominance. Back to the main event last night with Pitbull and Cruz and Roach. I do feel that Lamar Roach won this fight. I feel he was robbed once again. I felt the fight was at least 115 to 113. It was very close. I do feel like Roach won rounds 9 to about to round 12. And I do feel Cruz won probably the first 4 to 5 rounds, but at least maybe from like round 8 to about round 11, 12. I do feel Cruz might have won round 8 or 9. And from 10 to 12, I feel like those last 3 rounds was flawlessly won by Lamont Roach. The combinations were hitting. He was using more power punches and more body blows. I feel like Cruz was clinching the whole fight because he was getting tired from getting hit. And I think what really won the fight for Cruz was that knockdown. If Lamar Rose didn't get knocked down, he would have won that fight last night. And I think the knockdown is what made it 115, 113. And then it ended up being a tie because of how close it was at the end for the fight being tied 113 apiece. But I don't agree with that fight being a draw. It was very, 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 very disrespectful to that man's craft. As you know, he has to go back to the drawing board now and try to see what's next for him. As you know, everybody's trying to see what's next for Roach, and is he gonna take on this guy or that guy or that guy or this guy? And the winner of this fight, a lot of people wanted to see, uh, a lot of people wanted to see him take on Shakur Stevenson, if he didn't take the rematch with Tank. But obviously, Tank had other things he wanted to do, taking on Jake Paul, and as we know now, that fight has been canceled. So, um, I do see this being a rematch next year. But hopefully it happens, man, because these guys are two great fighters in the sport today, and I'm a fan of both of these guys, and I would love to see a rematch sometime early next year. Um, Wrapping up, Teofimo Lopez and Shakur Stevenson is happening. That fight is going to be going down next month, January 31st, end of January in New York. I believe they're going to be probably fighting in Brooklyn at Barclays. Shakur is from the East Coast. He's from Jersey, so that's right next to New York. So this is a fight I've been wanting to see for the last 3 years. So hopefully this fight lives up to the hype. Shakur coming off his previous couple of wins, Tiafimo coming off of his couple of wins. It makes for a great match, man, and hopefully we see what happens. But back to the Bears, man. I feel like our defense has to get better. Our secondary has been very shitty. Um, the last couple weeks, last week we beat the Eagles. It was a shutout. I don't know what the Eagles were on last week. They just Jalen Hurts didn't come out to play great, and we showed up and showed out. Um, I feel like Caleb Williams was second guessing. If Roma Doomsday had played in this game today, I do believe the Bears would have won this game. He was the missing piece on offense. I do feel like Ben Johnson, he needs to utilize um, DJ Moore more. DJ Moore did not get the ball enough in this game. And for him being our wide out one, he doesn't get the ball enough. So hopefully, next week we take on Miles Garrett and Shador Sanders and the Cleveland Browns. Week 15 with 4 games left in the season. We do have to play Green Bay again. We'll be back home at Soldier Field on a Saturday night game actually in 2 weeks. So hopefully we get this dub, man, and go from there. But I just wanted to tap in with the fan, with all my supporters, man. I know I hadn't been recording in a couple of weeks, so last I streamed was the week before Thanksgiving. I did 2 episodes that week, a Monday episode and a Thursday episode. So I just want to tap in with y'all. I will be recording probably again, maybe tomorrow after the Eagles Chargers game, and Thursday as well after Thursday night game. I'm not sure who plays Thursday, but I'll let y'all know when I stream again tomorrow. I just want to thank everybody, man, for supporting me these last few months of the pod, getting the subscribers up, and showing a lot of love. But we'll be signing off, man. Just wanted to tap in with you guys. The Bears took a loss today after their 5-game win streak, 28-21 up in Lambeau in Green Bay. But we will be back next week. I guarantee you we will beat the Browns next week. It's Bear down for life. You know what it is, man. Signing off. Peace. Good night. Happy holidays to y'all, man. Be safe.